Hi everybody, I'm Ashley and you are kicking it with Ash. Um, as we end August and go into September, I had the opportunity to sit today and watch the documentary Katrina Babies that is on HBO. So if you haven't had the opportunity to watch it, go watch it. It's really interesting. Of course, I teared up and cried in many parts of it. Um, and there's reasons behind the tears. Part of it is that I still remember the trauma. I still remember how it went down. And that one single event, that one single event changed my life. It changed my perspective on people. It changed my perspective on the institutions, especially the government, on society. But it also helped me align with my purpose as well. So let's talk about it, because we're not going to cry about it. So Hurricane Katrina happened in 2005. I was 22 years old. Wouldn't have made 23 until November. I just quit my job as being an RA at University of New Orleans in Bienville Hall. I just moved in with two other fraternity brothers in an apartment in the East. And I was really excited. I was moving into my junior year. I was getting into my classes because I'm a history major. So that semester I was going to take Louisiana history and some other classes at that. But that one I remember specifically. And I'll tell you why later in the video. Sorry. So I was really excited. I was, just not saying finding my groove, but I felt a part of a community. So we're watching the news because, school's about to start and we just moved in and shit's going on. And so luckily for me, I guess you can say I'm a scaredy cat. I lived in Texas, didn't like those tornadoes. I lived in California, dealt with the aftershock, wasn't a fan of that. So I'm not a really good fan of natural disasters. So I'm watching the news and I'm 22, you guys. I'm 22 on my own, trying to figure out the best course of action. My mom is in Georgia. My dad is here because he worked for the Corps of Engineers. So I'm on the phone with my dad and I'm like, he's like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Mom said I can go to Georgia, but I don't know. This was something new for me. So luckily enough, my dad was like, just let me know. And so we're talking and I'm trying to figure out what my roommates were doing and whatnot. So one of my roommates, she's like, well, I'm gonna stay at the hotel where I work until it blows over. And I'm like, okay, cool. My other roommate, she's like, well, I'm gonna go to Texas and go with family out there. I said, okay, well, I don't want to be here. I didn't want to experience it. So I was like, Dad, I want to go. So it was tricky trying to get out. 22, my dad couldn't leave because he had to work. Remember, he works for the Corps. So he had to be on the levee that night when Katrina came through, but I wasn't going to stay. So luckily enough, we couldn't get through the phones with Greyhound, but we went in and was able to get a ticket on one of the last buses out of New Orleans to Atlanta. Sorry. So I just packed a duffel bag full of clothes and my books for that semester. Why? The previous year, a hurricane was supposed to hit. I was an RA at that time, and they made the whole city evacuate. And so we had to make sure as RAs that everybody was out of housing before we can leave. And so the city was shut down for a week and the hurricane didn't hit. So I can understand why the next year when Katrina hit, why the city took so long on deciding for people to evacuate and why so many people stayed. It's so true. The hurricanes always come here, but then at the last second, they turn. So I didn't think nothing of it. Packed up my bags, just one bag. I'll be back. Mind you, I'm 22 and everything that I have at home, I left behind. So I made it to Atlanta. Didn't think of it, get to hang out with my mom, my family, and whatnot. And then I see my job and my home underwater. And I didn't know what to do. I was stuck. 22 and all I had was a bag. And I didn't know what to do. At that time, I think I was just stuck in a state of, I don't know. Because I did not know what to do, y'all. I really didn't know what to do. I was looking at schools. I knew one thing. The feeling that I went through just to leave because of the uncertainty of a hurricane. I told myself I never wanted to feel that again. So when I was on that bus out to leave New Orleans, I told myself I wasn't going to come back. I did not want to go through those feelings again. So I wasn't going to go to school. I wasn't going to return to school that fall. I didn't know what to do. All I had was my school books. They don't teach Louisiana history in Georgia. I had no credentials to tell any school that I was currently in school because all the systems are down. And I can't just say, here, I got a textbook that shows that I'm in school. It doesn't show nothing. So I didn't know what to do. But I was going to wait. That was my plan. My plan was to wait it out, fall term, and return to school spring. Well, my mom, the family was calling to check and make sure that I was good. And my uncle from up north called my mom and was checking on me and whatnot and was like, how's Ash doing? And, of course, everybody's worried because I don't share. I keep all my feelings and emotions to myself unless you really, really get to know me or you're there when the situation happens. So I don't really open up and share how deeply traumatizing things can be for me. He told her, make sure she keeps going to school. Just keep going. And so my mom, she called me and she was like, Ash, I know you're just looking at schools and whatnot, but what schools are you looking at? And I was like, well, I'm looking at this school or that school. I'm not looking at these because they're asking for some things that I don't have. And at that time, I don't think the schools even understood. If I didn't have a dollar to rub together to evacuate, how am I going to pay you admissions or an application fee to go to school? It was hard because some schools wanted so much. And I used that against them because I felt like I am not a refugee. I'm a citizen of the United States. And that when you open your doors knowing that a lot of us didn't even have a pot to piss in because the pot was left in New Orleans with Katrina. So that hurt. But I was able to kind of narrow it down to 2 schools. And my mom was like, well, which one? And I picked one. And she was like, okay. I didn't know it at the time. She called the school and, told them. And she called me back and she was like, Ash, I took the day off and we're going to ride up to the school, me, you, and your cousin. And we're going to enroll you into school. And I'm like, what? And She was like, we're going to enroll you into school. I was scared. Now I'm going into a new environment. I just lost everything days ago. I have nothing. I'm in a new city, a new state, with all these emotions. And everybody wants to know how you feel. In the college setting, this is an opportunity of a lifetime to talk to people that are going through something like this on a national level. And a lot of people, you know, were interested, which is fine. So I ended up going to that school. A young lady that I got a chance to work with spearheaded a drive for every student that came from New Orleans during Katrina at the school. And the school was able to round up pots, pans, blankets, comforters, the necessities that we may need to move into housing. I'm so sorry. And she didn't have to do that. She did not have to do that. So Mary Beth, you are, no, not Mary Beth, I'm sorry, Mary Jo. I hope you know that that act of kindness stuck with me. Mrs. Sweeney, when I said she was like the representative that opened the door with open arms to make me, I don't know how everybody else felt, comfortable, understanding, reasonable when just trying to piece a schedule together. As a history major, you know, going from state to state, they require different things. And so for me, you know, I was really fascinated and exciting to learn my history, Louisiana history. And so to get placed into Georgia, I'm not going to get the opportunity to do that. So, you know, I built a schedule as similar as I could that I had in Louisiana. I moved into housing, had roommates. So, you know, I kind of went through the normality of a new freshman or, you know, a new student. But a lot of people didn't know the extra caveat was I'm a Katrina baby. Or not a Katrina baby, but Hurricane Katrina affected me. I didn't have a problem speaking about it. Whereas I know other people do. But I also don't have a problem speaking about my race either, because I feel like I would rather educate you than you walk around here with false pretenses and false notions of what we actually went through or are going through. Does Katrina still affect me today? Yeah. Katrina is the reason why I take so many pictures and I take so many videos of not just myself, but of other people, because I have nothing prior to 2005. Anything that anybody gives me in terms of what I had in elementary, middle school, high school, and pictures and memories, I get super excited about, because I have nothing but what I have in my head. Katrina taught me, yes, a lot about being resilient. A lot. Because it was hard. But Katrina also taught me that through something like this, I can rebuild myself. But also be prepared, because you just never know when the next one will hit. Don't hold on to valuables, because at any given moment those can be lost. but to also remember we're all human beings and we all deserve grace and we all deserve to be treated like humans and not refugees in our own homes. Crazy enough that I said I would never return, I am back in New Orleans. And watching this documentary, you know, I definitely understand how these kids still hold on to their trauma. Nobody does ask the kids what's going on, because sometimes kids just don't even know how to vocalize how they're feeling. I was 22, and it was still hard. It was still hard trying to get people to understand that more could have been done. It was hard for people to understand that it's deeper. It goes past the surface. And that you may see me smiling today or tomorrow or 2 weeks from now. But it still affects me. It still affects me. But that's why I try to bring in hope and faith when other situations do occur. Because I don't want others to go through what I went through, more so than what others went through. And yes, I was fortunate enough to get out. And everybody's story is a little bit different, but at the end of the day, we all lost a piece of ourselves when Katrina came through. So I hope by me sharing, this helps you in whatever healing process you're going through and whatever you're going through. Because for me, by talking about it, it does help me heal. I just don't like to get emotional about it, but unfortunately that comes with the territory. Is New Orleans going to be ever what it was? No. But New Orleans does have a chance and opportunity to be a new version of itself, despite the sense of what many may feel a loss. Me being back here these last 3 years, I've had the opportunity to build a community within my neighborhood, within the scope of where my son plays his sports, and just the things that I do. Because I believe community is within. It's not necessarily a place where you live, but it's within yourself and within others. That way, when things like this happen again, the community is much, much larger than what it used to be. So, sorry. So that is that's it. Those are my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, and my perspective on Hurricane Katrina, which was, my math is horrible. Okay, 2005, we're in 22. 17 years? It hasn't been 17 years? Yeah, I think it has been. Sorry. Wait. Yeah, yes, because I was 22. Yes. So yeah, that was my story, my perspective. If I messed up on any names, I do apologize, but you know who you are, because you were a bright light in a darkness for me. And that has helped me become who I am today. To be a bright light in somebody's darkness. So, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, if you want to know more, hit me up in the comment section. Other than that, I wish you guys nothing but the best. Stay blessed, and know whatever you're going through, you will get through it.